Welcome back to the channel. Here we provide a daily dose of life lessons based on stories from the Bible. Here is today's lesson from the Bible. A divine examination. Life lessons from Psalm 139 to 23:24. When we take a moment to look into our hearts, we're often met with a swirl of conflicting emotions and motivations. On one hand, we deeply desire God's presence to be woven into every fiber of our lives. On the other, we're tangled in threads of selfishness, pride, and fear. This inner conflict isn't just a personal struggle, it's a universal one. And while it's challenging enough to take a close look at ourselves, it's another level entirely to surrender to God's investigation. Search me, God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. See if there is any offensive way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. Psalm 139 to 23:24. These verses from Psalm 139 are a profound invitation to divine examination. They call us to open our hearts to God's scrutiny, to allow Him to shine His light into our darkest corners. But can we stand strong under the severity of the Lord's gaze? Can we bear to have our hidden faults exposed? It's a daunting thought. God's gaze is all-seeing and all-knowing, and His standards are infinitely high. Yet, it's a necessary process if we truly want to grow spiritually. It's like a threshing machine that separates the valuable grain from the worthless chaff. We must pray that God will deliver us from all that is unholy and unworthy within us. Our own way of life, marked by emptiness and futility, often falls short. We chase after temporary pleasures, fleeting successes, and hollow achievements, only to find ourselves unsatisfied and unfulfilled. But God's way is different. His wisdom is infinite, and His path leads to true righteousness and lasting joy. So, how do we begin this process of divine examination? It starts with a humble prayer, much like the one in Psalm 139. We must ask God to search our hearts and reveal what needs to change. We must be willing to listen and to act on what He shows us. It also requires us to let go of our pride and self-sufficiency. We need to acknowledge that we can't do this on our own. Only God, with His infinite wisdom and grace, can lead us on the true path of righteousness. Finally, we must trust in God's love and mercy. The process of divine examination isn't meant to condemn us but to transform us. God searches our hearts not to shame us but to heal us. He reveals our flaws not to reject us but to redeem us. In the end, a life surrendered to God's examination is a life that experiences His presence in deeper, more profound ways. It's a life marked by authenticity, growth, and true fulfillment. May we all have the courage to invite God's gaze into our hearts and the humility to follow His lead. Let us know in the comments if this lesson has been helpful to you. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell.